Well, after a long ass time, we're finally back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I've been playing a bit too much of Halo the Master Chief Collection. At least by the time you see this, it'll probably be a fair bit more, but I've put about 16 hours into the PC version of this. I basically played the entire game, the entire day that it came out, from dawn to dusk, so yeah, I've got a fair amount of experience with it. I'd like to take the time to talk about it because, well, it's Halo. I've loved Halo ever since I played Halo 3 back on the Xbox 360. And back when you played it back on the Xbox 360, it was a community all its own. You could have a friends list full of people playing nothing but Halo 3, and they would all be playing Halo 3, and half of them would be playing custom games to which you could immediately jump into and just play straight away. Just go. I loved that. I loved that community, and you could bounce back and forth between custom games for literally a couple of years. A couple of years was the best until Halo Reach came out, then everybody moved to Reach, and then you played that for a couple of years, and then that went down the drain because, well, it just died off with the interest in Reach, really, but thankfully, now that it's back on PC and maintaining a player count that keeps it well within the top 10 of the Steam top played games charts, well, it's good to say that it's back. So I played the entire campaign through on Legendary. I played a couple of rounds of Firefight, but not much, and I played about the same amount of time in the campaign as I did in the multiplayer. So I played about 7 hours of multiplayer, something like that, before I recorded this video, and I guarantee you it's going to be a fair amount more because the PC port is really well done. It's not perfect, it has some issues, a couple of which I haven't been personally running into, but a few people have said that, you know, that it's a thing, and considering that people have put out comparison videos comparing this build to the original build of Reach on Xbox 360, showing off the sound at the very least, I can at least say that that is a problem, but considering that I was a massive fan of Halo 3 and Halo Reach, and I didn't notice the sound problems, like at all, I didn't have any problems with the sound whatsoever, I didn't notice it, I can at least say that it's tolerable, which is a good thing, I would hope, but hopefully they'll get around to fixing it. There's a couple of other weird things too, like not being able to crouch while you're moving due to the way that movement worked on the original game, and a couple of other weird little things like that, but we'll get into them when we get to them. So for those of you who don't know, Halo Reach is a first-person shooter. It is the last Bungie-developed Halo game, and therefore the last good Halo game, where you either play in campaign, where you go around shooting aliens, or you're playing multiplayer, where you go around shooting either other Spartans or aliens. And the shooting is obviously the best part of the game, but they've got this fantastic sort of sandboxy style gameplay to it, where you've got a bunch of different weapons, a bunch of different vehicles, and basically freedom of approach to do things how you like, although there are clearly things that are better and worse, and, you know, it takes on a sort of Unreal Tournament style vibe, where you have power weapons on the map that you have to go find. They'll respawn on a sort of timer, and it's basically just trying to beat the enemy, fulfill the objectives, while controlling the power weapons. And the gameplay balance between what they call the Golden Triangle, which is the guns, grenades, and melee, is still there, and it is still really fun to play. There are armor abilities, which are outside of the Golden Triangle and can cause some problems, but a lot of them are relatively easy to deal with, although, you know, a proper use of an armor ability can actually get you a decent kill. And they do work in the sense of the original gameplay, but at the same time, I still prefer Halo 3, so I don't know if the armor abilities cause that to be a step back or whatever, but whatever. All of these games are inherently satisfying in their shooting, their grenades, and their melee, especially since they made a really interesting decision, which is the majority of the social games in this game all run off what they call the title update, which removes some of the bloom, which is weapons getting more inaccurate as they shoot, and the ability to do melee bleed through, which means that melee is actually a lot more useful than it used to be. And back when the game launched on Xbox 360, people were just doing double melees at each other instead of the regular melee, and one of them dying thanks to shield bleed through. But still, Title update gameplay is the best that Reach ever was, and it almost gets up to that Halo 3 level. Doesn't get there, but it almost gets there. But thankfully, the game itself is more than satisfying enough to play either way. Even on PC, it's still as satisfying as it ever was. Anything between making sure that you have the best DMR skills by going for the head in SWAT, or by using effective crowd control with good grenades on a good mode like, say, Capture the Flag or Territories, or just sniping the crap out of people in Team Snipers. There is a fantastic amount of variety, not to mention things like vehicles. It's a bit weird though, vehicles seem to be not as useful as they used to be, mainly thanks to the fact that everyone's so good at things like DMRs that they can just shoot you off the back of a vehicle a lot easier than it used to be, but then again, I'm not playing too much that requires much more than vehicles. I didn't have much time for things like big team battle and stuff like that, but I'm sure I'll find some more time for it eventually. So, we'll talk about the PC port for a little bit. So the PC port, for the most part, is really well done. There are a couple of problems with it, as I said before, like the sound, not being able to crouch while you're moving, but it's got a fair few options to work with. I've been playing on unlimited FPS, which is a really nice feature to have because, well, let me put it this way. Halo at 30 frames is a bit sluggish. Halo at 60 frames is smooth. Halo at 240 frames is something else entirely. It feels wonderful. And they fixed a lot of the input lag issues they said were in the last flight. I didn't actually get on the flights despite trying as much as I possibly could, but, well, there you go. I've never been particularly lucky, and these games aren't an example. But they don't have much in the way of actual options. You can put your field of view as high as you like. I actually put my field of view to 105. They also let you do some field of view for vehicles separately, so I actually put that up to 120, so I have really wide view whenever I'm using a vehicle. It really helps out for me personally, especially since the game's in third person. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want 120 FOV on vehicles, but there you go. You do have the option to turn down the internal resolution, and you do have V-Sync, but I've got that turned off in these because I've got a G-Sync monitor and an NVIDIA graphics card. There is also a level of detail slider. They call it graphics quality, but that's basically all it does. It just makes things draw closer or further away. The game itself still has the same rough minimum requirements, but again, it's a game that will probably run pretty well on a toaster because it's an Xbox 360 game from like 9 years ago. It'll run fine on anything that's even remotely built for gaming. So, yeah, it has been running fine for me too. I actually been having a couple of problems with Battle Creek where the frame rate is just a little bit weird, but in pretty much every other map it's fine. I've been having a fantastic time with the overall level of performance. What else is there to talk about, really? So, the campaign on Legendary is really hard. I played through the entire thing on Legendary, a little bit in co-op and then the rest solo. And man, those elites really know how to play a good game of gymnastics more than intergalactic war. They're all over the damn place. The best weapons you can get in this game are either weapons like the Needler that have really strong lock-on, or DMR, because DMR, you can just hit them straight in the head and they have no way to really dodge it. Every explosive weapon, every grenade, they will hop out of the way and you will never, ever, ever be able to actually hit them with anything like that. It's almost kind of frustrating. I'd actually recommend playing through on Heroic because it's way more forgiving, especially with the amount of damage that every enemy deals out. When you can walk up to a small individual grunt and get your head shot off by them, it's actually kind of frustrating. Especially when they start bringing out the fuel rod cannons and they fire 5 bolts of, if you are even remotely near this, you die death in your general direction. But the campaign is still as good as it ever was. Great amount of variety, few tank sections, one section where you go up into space and it still controls really well, although I found myself ducking behind things like friendly ships more often than not because I would be getting killed ridiculously. Yeah, that seems to be the main thing about these games in Legendary. They really do require you to basically hide behind cover like it's a Call of Duty game, otherwise you will get killed. The enemy variety is fantastic because they brought back elites, they add brutes in the second half, and they always have some interesting combat situations for you, like having small enclosed caves with tons of swarmers, like having a long sideline with tons of elites taking shots at you. Thankfully, there's nothing along the lines of the Jackals in Halo 2, but it still looks and works just great and plays just fine. And you can play the game in co-op, but for whatever damn reason, the only thing in this game that isn't on dedicated servers is the campaign. It'll work fine if you're playing with someone on the same continent. I played with a mate of mine through like a third of the campaign. And we did pretty damn well, and there was next to no lag whatsoever. But when I popped in with a person from Europe and a person from America, we were getting some ridiculous lag. We were getting constantly disconnected from each other. It was turning into a bit of a disaster. And the same sort of thing happens when you try and hop on with a group that are all over the place in one, like, social game, because you'll find yourself getting, like, thrown out, or someone will just get immediately disconnected, or you'll take ages to find a match. So, I don't know if that's something that can be fixed, mainly just due to, you know, that's just how multiplayer works across continents. Sometimes that just happens and there's nothing you can really do about it. It would be nice if they fixed it, but it doesn't look like they can. With that said, though, I'm still having a lot of fun even just hopping in and going in solo, because the game's got a fair amount of options for doing that. You've got firefight and multiplayer matchmaking, and it's really impressive matchmaking as well. You've got all sorts of little things you can do. So in firefight, you can choose what kind of firefight you want to hop into. It's pretty simple stuff. But in multiplayer, you've got competitive playlists that focus on one set of games all the time. I tried hopping into Team Hardcore and I got flattened. The game is extremely hard in Team Hardcore, and I was like, nope, I can't do this. I should just let this walk away. And then Invasion is the other ranked matchmaking. That's the word I'm looking for. Ranked. It's the other ranked matchmaking playlist. I don't know why. It seems weird to have Invasion ranked, but I guess it's a thing that they want to do, so I guess we'll let them do it. It's still fun as well. I always liked Invasion. It was always one of my favorite modes on Reach because of the sort of asymmetric balancing, the whole having to attack and defend, and the just general variety of being able to bring out elites with elite weapons and humans with human weapons, and everybody would just slowly escalate as the game went on. It was a lot of fun playing Invasion the way that it's meant to be played. And yeah, I appreciate them, but what I really appreciate more is how they do social game matchmaking, where you can choose any game and any kind of like game type that you want, and you can just hop in and it'll throw you into the first one it can find. For me right now, it seems biased towards SWAT. I am almost guaranteed to get a couple of games of SWAT, and everything else is just kind of an even spread. So I find myself disabling SWAT more often than not, just because it seems like SWAT is intensely popular right now. But hopefully with 100,000 people playing, that will serve to be changed. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows? But being able to just drop into any mode that is first available is great, because it gives you a lot of variety. One game you can be playing Team Slayer, the next you can be playing Capture the Flag, the next you can be playing Fiesta, the next you can be playing Griffball. It means that you don't get bored waiting for someone to hop onto the other playlists a la Call of Duty, and it means that they don't have to just separate playlists so that you've got one for Slayer, one for Capture the Flag, one for Assault, one for Oddball, you know. Ridiculous amount of playlist separation would have to happen if they wanted to do it that way. But no, with this way, you just get thrown in and you get as much variety as you want or don't want, which I absolutely adore. And the multiplayer itself is also working great, not to mention Firefight, because everything that isn't campaign co-op is hosted on dedicated servers, even on custom Firefight games. So everyone can hop into a custom Firefight game and just shoot the shit if they like, and it's really great. The performance of the servers so far has been fantastic, even when I've been on like dedicated servers in the eastern US. Even though it was obvious there was a delay between my actions and them actually happening in the game, it was working about as well as you could expect, considering that I was connected to a server halfway across the world. And when I was hopping onto Australian servers, it was peachy, it was cake. I have never noticed too much in the way of problems, although if I was getting thrown onto a server in like Southeast Asia and I was playing a game like Griffball where timing is immensely important, there were being like a lot of traded kills and a lot of like, I'm halfway through my sword animation and yet I'm halfway through my lunge animation and somehow he manages to kill me before he gets killed by me touching him with the sword, but that just happened. It happens back in the original Halo as well, and thankfully it looks like there isn't going to be anything like server migration issues because it's all being hosted on Deddies. So, hooray! Who doesn't like that? No one doesn't like that. It's fantastic. And of course, the multiplayer is as fantastic as ever. The weapon balance has always been a little bit biased towards the DMRs, but it seems to be going a lot more in that direction. Some of the weapons don't feel like they're ever used at all, which is a little bit disappointing, although it's better than someone getting their hands on the DMR and then just wrecking face. Because most of the modes that they've actually put up for competitive multiplayer now start everyone out with DMRs, and it's also the title update stuff, so Bloom is not as existent, so people can make shots a lot more easier, and so everyone ends up using a lot of DMRs unless they manage to get their hands on one of the actual power weapons, i.e. rocket launcher, sniper rifle, grenade launcher, sticky launcher, you know, just the general stuff that will kill faster than a DMR. Means that the assault rifle doesn't get used as much, which I'm a little bit disappointed by, but I guess that's just what happens when the DMR turns out to be king in this game, right? So, you do get that massive amount of variety. You get your capture the flag, your oddball, your assault, your everything. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have made much time to get into things like oddball or assault yet, just because I always get put into games like Territories or Capture the Flag or something like that, but oh well, I'll get to play them eventually, I assume. Then again, there is also Griffball, just as its own dedicated thing, which I also adore because I love Griffball. I think Griffball is the best, although I just isolated the Griffball Classic if I could. At least that'll be the case until Halo 3, where I can just go to Halo 3 and be like, okay, I'm only going to play Griffball for 3 hours because that's fantastic. But yeah, the weapon balance is just as it was, except for, you know, the mouse and keyboard thing working out. Vehicles feel a little bit more useless than they used to, especially the Warthog, since if you step on top of it, two people with DMRs will just instantly lock onto your head and just send you flying off it before you can even kill one person with a chain gun, which is kind of disappointing, but, well, that's a thing. But still, getting back into a good 8 versus 8 game, a big team battle, and just having two vehicles, a bunch of people next to them, just all firing away is fantastic. It's a feeling that I've missed from since I played the original Halo. There are games like Battlefield that have tried to, well, not so much try to recreate the feel of Halo, but sort of kind of have a chance to, but just don't. Halo is just something that is a really specific feel, and even with Halo Reach, it's back. It is absolutely back. It is still absolutely wonderful. And I'd like to think that the fact that they've had at least 160,000 people maximum is great. Like, even if I go check the community hub for how many people are playing right now, it says something along the lines of 121,000 people. And this is like the day after launch, but still, it is really impressive. It is really impressive that they managed to get this many people. Like, I am generally amazed at just the level of people that have been playing this. 121,000. And this is a day after launch. Like, this is still super impressive. I can't help but wonder how this is going to hold up, but I don't think it's left the top 10 ever since it launched. Well, I guess we'll see how it does over the next few days.
30 seconds remaining.
But yeah, I don't really know like what else to say about it. It's awesome. The shooting is just as good as it used to be, and hell, even playing with the DMR is better these days because you can be more precise. But the overall makeup of the weapon sandbox is there, even though things like the plasma repeater just end up on the ground all the time because no one ends up using them. Although, at the beginning of that first game, there was that fantastic segment. What the fuck is a segment? There was that fantastic segment where I picked up a repeater. I used it to take down the shields of the people who were approaching us while the other guy just finished them off with a DMR. It's very useful for situations like that. But, yeah, the weapon variety, the vehicle variety, the overwhelming variety of the multiplayer, the fantasticness of the campaign is still there. Very little in the way of like technical issues for me personally, although like a game that I recorded later on Battle Creek turned out to it's Battle Creek now, isn't it? Where it turned out to be just that little bit stuttery and weird in the frame rate, despite the fact the frame rate was still over 200 in a lot of places, and yeah, very little in the way of technical issues in comparison to the original thing, in comparison to the original launch of the Master Chief Collection on Xbox, where you could not find a game whatsoever and you were reliant on having a gigantic friends list of people playing custom games. Although I'm still looking to find a lot of people who are playing custom games. And oh yeah, I guess I'll mention this too. I bought the game on Steam, and despite the fact you need to sign in with Xbox Live, which is okay, it still runs everything through Steam really well. So you've got achievements, you've got trading cards, you have the ability to right-click a person's name and just join them like you were playing a native Steam game, and that works really well. It actually works amazingly. And you have the ability to launch without anti-cheat, so you can play mods, and that's amazing. Like, imagine anyone else doing that. Like, EA doesn't do that. Activision doesn't do that. But Halo, yeah, go ahead, disable the anti-cheat. Play as many modded games as you want. We'll let you do that. That is something else entirely. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the rest of the games. I can't wait for Halo 2 to get completely wiped out by people who know how to BXR better than I do. I can't wait for Halo 3, because Halo 3 is like one of my top 5 games of all time. I cannot stand waiting for it, but at least I've got Halo Reach to tide me over. I can't wait for Halo 4 to completely ignore it. I can't wait for the original Halo to see what those remastered graphics look like on PC. It's just, it's amazing. It's wonderful. The fact that we've got Halo back on PC again, and it actually works. Like, there are still some technical problems that they have shown a really good tendency to fix problems that are reported, and I can't wait for the rest. It's doing really well. It's awesome. What else can I say? Go buy it. Like, I have no reason to tell you not to go buy it, because you don't have to buy the entire thing. You can just buy Halo Reach for like $10 US and just play that. Because you can do that if you want. You can just buy Halo Reach and Halo 3. You can wait for Halo 3 to come out and just play that. You can wait for Halo 2 to come out and just play that. And there's no reason not to do it that way if you want to. There is no reason not to do it that way. And you can even have like isolated games. So I'll probably play like Halo 4 once it comes out on PC. Then I'll just disable it in my DLC list so that I don't have to have it downloaded. That's the thing. I can do that. And it's wonderful. And it's basically everything I ever wanted. It is absolutely everything I ever wanted. Halo on PC with mod support, with the ability to pick whatever games I want, with Steam integration at a price that is actually reasonable. $10 for every individual game, $40 for the lot.
Griffball.
This is what Halo needs to come back, and considering that there are 120,000 people in game right now, it's back. The king is back. And I can't wait to see how this turns out. With that said though, this has been Blue Maxima. I'm gonna go play some more. I'll see you all next time.
Detonated. Game over. Capture the flag. Flag taken. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag dropped. Flag taken. Flag reset. Flag captured. Gained the lead. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag reset. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag recovered. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag reset. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag captured. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag dropped. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag recovered. Flag reset. Flag taken. 5 minutes remaining. Flag dropped. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag reset. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag reset. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag reset. Flag stolen. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Flag dropped. Flag recovered. Flag reset. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag recovered. Flag stolen. Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag dropped. Flag stolen. Revenge. Flag recovered. Flag captured. Lost the 1 minute remaining. Seconds remaining. Flag stolen. Flag dropped. Double kill. 10 seconds remaining. Flag recovered. Game over. King of the Hill. Hill control. Lost the lead. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill controlled. Hill controlled. Hill contested. Hill controlled. Hill controlled. Hill control. Hill control. Hill move. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Double kill. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill contested. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. Hill control. control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill move. Ill control. Tested. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Tested. Ill control. Ill tested. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill move. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. Ill move. Ill control. Ill control. Ill contest. Ill control. Ill control. Ill control. 1 minute to win. Ill control. Heal controlled. Heal controlled. Heal controlled. Heal contested. Heal control. Double kill. Heal control. 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 5 minutes remaining. Heal move. Heal control. Revenge. Heal control. Heal control. 1 minute to win. Heal control. Heal control. Heal control. Heal control. Double kill. Heal control.